Welcome back. Now that you know where the tapping points are located, let's talk about what you're actually going to say whilst you're going through the tapping process. And don't worry, I'm going to guide you through all this, okay? So we're going to create something what we call a setup statement. And I told you about this in the last video when we're tapping on the side of the hand points. And repeating the statement really helps us to focus on exactly what we want to release. So it's quite important that you make sure you spend a bit of time on your setup statement so it's correct, okay? Now it's easy. You basically begin by being specific about how you're feeling, and then you add something like, and I accept myself as I am, or I love and accept myself anyway. So it's really simple and really kind. And I'm going to go through a few examples for you so you know what I mean. So say if you're feeling really stressed about a deadline at work, you might say something like, even though I feel stressed about my work deadline right now, I deeply and completely accept myself. Notice how we're being really specific about the source of the stress, and that clarity really helps the tapping process to be more successful. Being specific is actually fundamental to success with tapping, okay? So really remember that, be specific. If you can get to a specific event, even better. So as an example, say you're sat at your desk and your manager came over with a kind of grumpy look on their face and they seemed really off with you and they told you about this deadline and you were like, oh, shrinking in your chair, feeling really small. So your setup statement might be, even though my manager seemed off with me when they told me about the deadline and it made me feel really small, I deeply and completely accept myself, okay? Now, sometimes it can feel difficult to say, I deeply and completely accept myself, or I love and accept myself. So you might say something like, I'm learning to accept myself, or I'm doing okay, or I'm safe in this moment. The setup statement is designed to give you permission to feel exactly what's there without any judgment. So we're really accepting the truth of how we're feeling. We're not trying to stuff it down. We're not trying to be all positive. We're just addressing what we're feeling, okay? We're honouring that emotion, whatever it might be. And you can use this formula for anything specific you're experiencing. So it might be something like, even though I feel really overwhelmed by my to-do list, or even though I have a headache because I'm all tense today, or I had an argument with my child, always follow it by something like, I love and accept myself, or I'm learning to accept myself, or I accept myself anyway. And once you've created your setup phrase, you would then go through the rest of the points, as I showed you in the last video, with what's called your reminder phrases. So with the example that I gave you with regards to the deadline at work, you might tap like this. So you might say, this deadline, my boss sounded off, they looked cross, I felt small, this deadline, they were off with me, I felt small, this deadline. So keep your reminder phrases nice and simple, and if you're not sure what to say, just repeat that part of your setup phrase. My manager seemed off with me when they told me about the deadline and it made me feel small. And you'd repeat that as you go through the points, okay? Nice and simple. I'm going to guide you through the process, and next we're going to tap together for emotional relief using our setup statement, and I can't wait to guide you through it. So I'll see you in the next video.